Yo, happy holidays, guys. It is once again Spooktimber, which means it's officially time for more Halloween episodes on this channel. I've been doing these for the last couple of years, and it's become a passion of mine, archiving all of these episodes into one place. So going forward, I'm going to try to beef it up a little bit, trying to improve it, make it feel more Halloween-y. I'm gonna be adding music like this and spooky Halloween themed sound effects like this. I made a new logo and intro, which you're about to see. I just really want to make this like Halloween special about Halloween specials feel special to those of you who are enjoying it. But what this video is basically is like a stitched together abomination of all the past episodes I did, and I've thrown in little Halloween themed commercial breaks, and I might be throwing in a couple of my ads also here and there. From what I can tell, this is gonna be like over 2 hours, pretty long, the longest video I've ever put up, but hopefully you can throw it on and get amped up for the season. But I won't waste any more of your time. Without further ado, here we go. Hey, what's up, guys? It is officially spooky season once again, which means I get to talk about Halloween stuff finally. And since September hit, I have been watching a ton of Halloween specials, Halloween episodes of all my favorite TV shows. And one of those is a personal favorite from Are You Afraid of the Dark? And it is called The Tale of the Twisted Claw. This is the only Halloween episode they ever made for the series. I think technically they did like a special 2-episode Cutter's Treasure, something like that.
From Nickelodeon Video, Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Tale of Cutter's Treasure. A special 1-hour episode where 2 kids must fight a cutthroat pirate from the past or face no future.
But it wasn't Halloween-y like this one. It wasn't set on Halloween or anything. If you're looking for that, this is the one. Of course, though, with Are You Afraid of the Dark, a lot of the episodes are really good to watch around Halloween. My personal favorite in the series is the Tale of the Dark music. It's great for Halloween time. Plus all the hits, you know, Ghastly Grinner, Dead Man's Float, stuff like that. I mean, it didn't even work. It's a great show. But if you're wanting specifically a Halloween one, this is it. And in my limited research, I saw on Wikipedia, so take this with a grain of salt because I'm not sure, but from what that said, this actually served as the pilot in America on Nickelodeon. I know it wasn't the first episode, but I guess it was the first episode that aired in the States. If that's the case, it's a really good one because of the way it opens, which is very unique. It opens in the middle of a story with a kid in bed. He hears a noise. There is a big, spooky Grim Reaper in his closet that's coming to get him. And it cuts. He wakes up. It was a dream. Or was it? Because the spooky Grim Reaper guy is actually there. And while we're on this for a second, indulge me. I just want to point out that this kid has one of those classic 90s television kids' rooms with posters all over the wall. He's got stars on his ceiling. He's wearing some dope-ass PJs. And that's one of my favorite things about going back and watching this show. It's the wardrobe. If you go back, I mean, this episode is a great example. These kids are wearing some dope-ass clothes. Right off the bat, one of the main characters in the show is wearing a sweet hat, a fresh set of feelers. And just at the bottom of his jacket, you can see he's wearing one of those pink and black, like, scribbly, zigzaggy striped shirts. And if you just look around on our characters and in the background, you see all kinds of sweet outfits that I would just love to have now. I mean, look at this kid's shirt. It's dope as fuck. And I want it. But anyway, that cuts to the Midnight Society. One of the kids is telling this story about the kid having a nightmare about the spooky Grim Reaper guy. And he doesn't have an ending for the story. He is just like, I don't know how it ends. I just started telling the story, I guess, without knowing where I was going with it. And the other members of the group don't like that.
Yeah, but I mean, what about tonight? It's almost lights out and we haven't had a full story yet.
But David saves the day with the tale of the twisted claw. And when we go into the story, it opens up on a sweet, slow pan out of a jack-o'-lantern lit in the window. And we get introduced to our two main characters, Dougie and Kevin. And they're out on Halloween Eve causing mischief along with all the other kids in the neighborhood. And they decide to go to Miss Clove's house to pull some sweet pranks. And so basically they knock on the door, and when she answers, they straight up assault this poor woman. Kevin is waiting with a can of shaving cream, and he point blank shoots her directly in the eyes with this shaving cream. If she hadn't been wearing glasses, she probably would have been in a world of hurt. And I don't think these kids counted on her wearing glasses. I don't think they gave a fuck, especially Kevin. But more on that later. We'll talk about Kevin towards the end, I think. But yeah, even still, they cover her glasses and face in shaving cream. She trips and knocks over a vase. They're extremely lucky that she didn't like fall and break a hip or bust her head on the nightstand and just die. But they cause her to break her vase. They run off. She kind of comes to the door and slowly goes from anger to maniacal laughing. And it cuts to Halloween night. Kevin's in his costume. He's waiting for Dougie to arrive.
You're a bum. You're a bum every year. So you get the same candy.
And I'd also like to point out there are a few other kids there, and one of them is dressed as Grapes, which is a great costume. Just wanted to point that out real quick. But yeah, they go trick-or-treating, and for some reason, they decide to go back to Mrs. Clove's house. And so, you know, granted, Kevin was pretty quick with the shaving cream to the eyes, but, you know, this is the 90s. It's a small neighborhood. She for sure knew who got her. But they go anyway, mainly because of the insistence of Kevin to return to the scene of the crime and get a little status for being the only kids brave enough to visit the witch's house on Halloween. She answers. She doesn't seem to remember that it was them who tried to kill her last night, and she actually seems pretty excited they're there. She invites them in, which is a thing that creepy people always do on these TV shows. I never got invited inside of a house on Halloween, and if I had, I don't know if I would go in, especially if it was the local witch who was doing it. But they step in, and she gives them a fucking demon claw as a treat.
It's the claw of a vulture.
Ew.
Kind of forces it on them. They reluctantly take it, kind of just to get the fuck out of there. And they're headed home and pondering on whether or not this claw actually works. And that's when we get our first wish. Kevin makes a oddly worded wish. He wishes to
Well, I wish we can go home and lose this stupid trick-or-treating. Whoa!
which I guess means to just stop trick-or-treating, which, I mean, you know, this is kind of a sketchy first wish. I mean, the kid's wishing to stop doing something and go home when he could just stop doing it and go home. But anyway, shortly after that, they run upon a strange gang of like 30-year-olds hanging outside of a baseball field with bicycles and these kind of creepy white masks. And these dudes just start bullying them, chasing after them on bikes. And I guess that's the wish playing out.
What are you complaining for? You got your wish. No more trick-or-treating. I'm out of here.
These guys that they ran into scared them enough that they felt the need to go home and stop trick-or-treating. So there you go. There's the first evil twist of the wish gone wrong. Just them getting scared by some weirdo 30-year-old dudes and going home, not trick-or-treating anymore. The next day at school, Kevin meets Dougie at his locker, and Kevin is getting ready to run a foot race, I guess in gym class. I don't know if this is an official competition. I guess it is because he gets a medal later. But yeah, he's trying to win the foot race for his local track team or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. It seems like just a thrown together gym thing. All these kids are gathered in a field seemingly behind the school. And they're all just wearing white t-shirts and shorts. There's a small crowd gathered and they're gonna have a foot race, and Kevin wants to win this foot race, especially against his apparent arch nemesis Bostwick, who is the cool kid in school.
Someone's got to shut him down.
So he gets the claw and he wishes that he could beat Bostwick in the foot race. Dougie doesn't like this. Dougie is warning him yo, this thing moved in my hand last night when I made a wish, and then my wish came true in a bad way. So maybe we shouldn't be wishing on this thing, but Kevin does it. And in the race, right at the finish line, Bostwick gets tripped up by a mysterious ghost dog that appears out of nowhere. Kevin leaps over him as he writhes in pain on the ground and wins the race. Gets a medal and everything. But Dougie saw the ghost dog kind of appear from behind a tree, so he's suspect. You cut to them at home later that night, and Dougie is I saw this dog come out of nowhere, dude. All of our wishes are turning sour on us. So they start arguing, and in the middle of the argument, when they start talking about Dougie and his folks, Kevin grabs the claw and wishes that Dougie would lose his folks. And immediately the phone rings. It's the police calling to inform Dougie that his parents have been in a horrible accident. Dougie's reaction in a panic is to immediately rip the phone out of the wall, which doesn't seem like a great idea. Him and Kevin start fighting over this claw because Dougie's over it. He's like, this thing is evil. You just killed my parents, dude. And they're arguing over what to do. Dougie's holding the claw and he says that he wishes his grandfather was around because he always knew what to do. And he had mentioned his grandfather earlier in kind of a passing comment, which kind of implied that his grandfather was dead and that they were close. And so now we're stuck in that classic scenario. You've seen it a million times in lots of TV shows. Somebody can't accept loss, so they try to bring a loved one back using dark magic or necromancy. And you as the audience know that they're gonna come back wrong, and as the ghoul or ghost or whatever they might end up being approaches the door unseen, right at the last minute, the character stops it. This plays out that same way, but while they're arguing about it, Kevin does not want to meet a ghost. He is not having it. He starts clamoring for the claw. He is not going to meet a ghost tonight.
That's Gramps' car. It's him. No! I don't want to meet no ghost.
He makes that very clear.
I got one wish left and I ain't meeting no ghost.
And so as the rotten corpse of the grandpa approaches the door, Dougie finally gets the claw and he pulls a Wishmaster, which this episode predates Wishmaster, but he makes the ultimate reverse Uno wish, which is, I wish we never broke the vase in the first place. And so, that means they never broke the vase, they never pissed off Miss Clove, she never gave them the claw, problem solved, slate's clean. But Right before we cut out, the doorbell still rings. They answer the door. It's the vase with a note in it that says trick or treat. I think the big takeaway from this episode is that Kevin sucks. He is a psychopath. He's the one who sprays Miss Clove directly in the eyes with shaving cream. When they go back, he kind of intimidates Dougie to come to the door with him.
We can tell everybody that we were the only ones brave enough to go to the witch's house on Halloween. Or I could say that you were too scared and I had to run home to mommy.
When he makes this wish for the race, this kid Bostwick, before the race, we see him like wish Kevin good luck.
Good luck, Kev.
Well, let's do it. Yeah.
And Kevin is just like, whatever, man. You're my enemy. We're about to race. Fuck you. And when the kid trips and shatters his leg, Kevin is like, oh no, I'm sure I didn't fucking just destroy this kid's leg. I'm sure it was just coincidence, right? And then the big final straw, he kills Dougie's parents. And poor Dougie is burdened with being his friend. And yeah, I kind of feel bad for Dougie. But this is a great episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark in general. It's also a decent Halloween episode. I mean, as far as a rating goes, I'll give it 4 stars. This is up there with the best of them in my opinion, just as an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode. On the Halloween scale, I mean, it opens up strong. Once you get into the actual story, it opens on a jack-o'-lantern in a window. That's great. It ends with the note that says trick or treat, reminding you that it's a Halloween episode. And for the first, I'd say like 5 or 10 minutes, we're following Dougie and Kevin in that classic setting of the suburbs at night, kind of isolated, dark, spooky, trick-or-treating, pulling sweet pranks. But the middle section is kind of lacking. It starts to, it pulls away from the Halloween setting. Maybe it would have been better if all this could have been facilitated in Halloween night so that we kept that aesthetic through the whole episode. But for what it is, I think they distributed the elements pretty decently to where you leave feeling Halloweeny. So I'll give it like, I don't know, 20 pumpkins on the Halloween rating scale. But yeah, great episode. I highly recommend it if you're looking for Halloween fodder. But yeah, that's it. Are You Afraid of the Dark's The Tale of the Twisted Claw. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and until next time.
Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes. Golden flakes encrusted with honey, nuts, and brown sugar. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes. The trouble is, they taste too good.
This Halloween, party with your favorite monsters during Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios, Florida. And right now, carve out savings of up to $16 off admission with this special coupon you'll find on 2 liters of Pepsi. For details, visit a Pepsi display near you. Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. Hurry to Ticketmaster today for advance tickets, while you can still slash the price.
The Halloween event you must see.
Showtime.
The ultimate show.
Buffy, no!
For the ultimate scare. A Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I didn't leave that open.
You should be afraid to miss.
And now, back to the show.
Spooky season is upon us once again, and that only means one thing around here, and that is Halloween episodes. There are tons of these things going all the way back to the 80s. Last year I covered an Are You Afraid of the Dark Halloween episode. This year I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to be doing a top 5. Not top 5, just 5. This isn't a best of. This is a cataloging for future generations across the board, and we'll be judging how Halloweeny they are. I mean, you know, there's tons of Halloween episodes of shows of all different qualities, so I'm just gonna pick 5 and roll with it, and we'll see where it goes from there. All that being said, though, there's some bangers in this one. 2 of the shows on this list fall into the one of my favorite shows of all time category, and another one is a pretty close runner-up, so there's a lot of good shit in this one, and I guess without further ado, I'll just get into it. The first one we're talking about tonight is Tales from the Crypt. This is one that falls in my favorite shows of all time categories for sure. I love Tales from the Crypt. There were years where I would stay up late and watch this show when I was way too young to be doing so. I love anthologies in general, movies and TV shows, and this is one of the best. Of course, it's got the Crypt Keeper. We all know him and love him, and it fits right in with Halloween. They only have the one, though, and it took them 6 seasons. It is called
Only Skin Deep.
It's basically about a dude who forces his way into a Halloween party uninvited to terrorize his ex-girlfriend who has like outed him as an abuser or whatever. And right off the bat, we establish that he's a huge douchebag. This is part of the Tales from the Crypt formula. Just about every episode, the main character is a huge piece of shit, and the episode is basically about them getting what they deserve. It's a good tactic. It draws you in pretty easily. Just makes you hate the main character, and then you can just like cheer along with the episode. And this one is no different. This guy sucks.
You know, silly me, thinking I gave you what you deserved. If I'd done that, I'd have killed you.
He's hassling his ex, starting shit with the guy who is putting the party on. He sneaks off to the kitchen to vent and runs into this chick who is dressed like a fucked up China doll. They start flirting. They go back to her place and agree not to share names or take their masks off in case it needed to be said. I don't think it does, but in case it needed to be said, this one is not for the kiddos. This is late night cable in the 90s. So yeah, they like bang or whatever, fall asleep together. He wakes up and immediately like reneges on their agreement and is trying to force her to like share her details with them so they can get to know each other. She's not having it. And as the night goes on, he starts uncovering her dark secret. Yeah, I mean, this is a good episode. Most Tales from the Crypt episodes are. It's just a really good show. I mean, with every anthology, you get a stinker, but most of them are above par. This is not the best. It's not my favorite episode by any means. It's got its problems. I mean, there are moments where the dialogue is really funny.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm making a stand.
Against what?
There are also moments where the dialogue is cringy, at least in my opinion, mainly with the chick. She says a lot of stuff in that, like, I'm trying to be cool kind of way, if you know what I mean.
Not just the hair of the dog, but the whole goddamn dog that bit us.
And also they assert this kind of like supernatural element where like the dude sees a ghost in her apartment, and at one point while they're getting it on or whatever, her eyes like black out like she's a demon, and that never goes anywhere really. But other than that, it's dark and gloomy and bleak like a Tales from the Crypt episode should be, with that kind of like dark humor. All in all, it's a good episode. I'll give it 3 stars. It's pretty good. As far as how Halloweeny it is, I don't know, man. It's not that Halloweeny. The very beginning is. I mean, it opens on a jack-o'-lantern. That's always a good sign. Most Halloween episodes show you a jack-o'-lantern within the first like minute of the episode. And the initial party stuff is a little Halloweeny. And then there is that whole like overarching concept of like the masks and stuff. But other than that, it's not that Halloweeny. They don't talk about Halloween too often. The plot doesn't revolve around Halloween. Halloween is just like the launching pad for the story, which is fine, but it does take away from it a little bit. I think honestly on the pumpkin scale, I would give it 1 pumpkin, but like a really shitty, rotten pumpkin. It's just not that Halloween-y. I feel like there are other episodes that would actually be better to watch around the season maybe. Like the Scarecrow episode with Patricia Arquette. That's a good one. But yeah, still all in all, a good time. If you're a Tales from the Crypt fan, you've probably already seen it. And if not, I don't think you'll be disappointed giving it a shot. All right, next is Dinosaurs. This one is from season 3. It's called Little Boy Boo. It is the only Halloween episode of Dinosaurs, which hopefully you've heard of. But if you haven't, it's basically a formulaic sitcom template from the early 90s that is built around animatronic dinosaurs. It's pretty cool. Again, it's very formulaic, kind of on purpose though, is like a little bit of the joke. It's almost just Family Matters, but with dinosaurs, kinda. But just the fascination of it and the really good animatronics makes this one all worth it. I will say, coming back to this, because it's been a while, I was surprised at how good the animatronics are. The faces are super emotive.
I have been waiting in that car with your mother for 10 minutes. Just your mother and me in the car. 10 minutes.
But yeah, this one is about the family needing to go to a school play for the daughter. And so the son is tasked with watching the baby. And of course, the baby is being a pain in the ass. So he tries to shut it up with a scary story. And that's kind of the setup here. We kind of go along with this spooky story that he's telling the baby. This is a classic like Wolfman type of story, except in this show, humans are kind of treated as the animals of the universe. And so this one is about a were-man. Or, I mean, as he's telling it to the baby, it's about him and the time he got bit by a were-man and turned into one or whatever. It's always been funny in this show how they portray humans as kind of like the unevolved wild animals. And I like how they build like urban legends in this universe around humans as the monsters. That's good stuff. Also, the play on the Wolfman story, but set in this time and universe. He actually needs a silver club instead of a silver bullet because they don't have guns. That's pretty good.
Unfortunately, the stores were all out, so I had to make do with a spoon.
Again, I will say, like, as far as a show goes, this isn't the best sitcom. If you're just watching it as a sitcom, most of the entertainment comes from what it is with the animatronics and everything and the dinosaur universe. It's cool. It's got great set design. Again, great animatronics. Some of the gags in the show can fall flat. Sometimes they hit. Very hit or miss. One thing I noticed about one of the sets is this Teenage Mutant Ninja Caveman's poster. That's pretty sick. I guess as a rating though, I would give it like 2 stars. It's okay. It's nothing to write home about. And in terms of Halloweeniness, I mean, this kind of has a similar problem to the Tales from the Crypt episode, where it's just not very Halloweeny. They sneak a costume in at the beginning, kind of. I guess you could count that as Halloween. And then at the end, the story kind of culminates with them accidentally inventing Halloween. And they go out on the first trick-or-treating expedition. And I mean, the whole episode is like a spooky werewolf story. But again, when it comes to comparison to some Halloween episodes, I mean, honestly, this one has even less than the Tales from the Crypt episode. So, I mean, if you just took like a little piece of that rotten pumpkin on the pumpkin scale, This episode just gets that little piece of rotten pumpkin, I think. But hey, I still recommend it. Especially if you've never seen the show or it's been a while. Go back and watch it, man. Those animatronics are on point. It's pretty dope. All right, next is the second of my favorite TV shows of all time category. It is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. This one is in season 2. They kept it simple. They just called it Halloween. This one sees the gang getting tasked with hanging out with trick-or-treaters, taking them door to door for the neighborhood. It's like a school volunteer thing that the principal kind of forces them into.
Gosh, I'd love to sign up, but I recently developed carpal tunnel syndrome and can tragically no longer hold a flashlight.
The children have to be back at 6.
They go to a local Halloween shop that just popped up called Ethan's to get their costumes. But little do they know, Ethan is an evil warlock who has hexed the costumes. And when he does his spell or whatever, it turns everybody into their costume. Like if you dressed up like a demon, you turn into a demon.
Maybe
In this case, Buffy dressed like a princess, Xander like a soldier, Willow like a ghost, and like, you know, they lose their memory and just become like these characters, except for Willow. She just becomes a ghost of herself, I guess. She's kind of the one that's pulling everybody together a little bit and trying to explain to everybody what's going on.
Xander was a soldier and Buffy was an 18th century girl.
And your costume?
I'm a ghost.
Yes.
This episode is semi-plotty. That can be a bad thing in Halloween episodes. If you're just popping it in to get the Halloween feels and you're hit with all this plot, sometimes it can fuck you up. I don't know, be a little weird, make you feel like you should just be watching the whole show. This one's not that bad though. This one just has a lot of setup with some characters like Oz, who's played by Seth Green.
Who's that girl?
And Ethan, the warlock, who shows up later and kind of introduces the concept of Giles having a fucked up past. But it isn't anything that holds this episode back. It just is kind of there. This series has 3 Halloween episodes, and this is the second best, in my opinion. That being said, though, it's great. This is a great episode. The show is good. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. This episode has it all. It's got great dialogue.
Hey, Cordelia. Geez, you're like a great big cat.
That's my costume.
It's got Spike running around, like early introduction to Spike. He's running around with like a cavalcade of random demon trick-or-treater kids trying to wreak havoc. It's good shit. As a rating, just for the show, 4 stars easy. This is about as good as it gets, show quality wise, for a Halloween episode. And in terms of how Halloweeny it is drenched in Halloweeniness. Early on in the school and in the street like scenes, there is Halloween decorations everywhere. Everybody is in costume for a bulk of the show. The plot is driven by Halloween. On the pumpkin scale, this one gets 82 pumpkins. So pretty damn good. Next, we've got one, I'm just gonna kind of get it out of the way. Everybody knows this show. Everybody's probably seen this episode. It's got to show up on the list sometime, and that time is right now. We're talking about Friends. The only Halloween episode they had. It took them 8 seasons to do it, but they finally did it. It is called The One with the Halloween Party. This is the simplest one to explain in the whole video of all of these. Friends is a very simple show. The episode to episode naming convention was very apt usually because it's usually one line that explains the whole thing. This one is The One with the Halloween Party. There is some story stuff going on, mainly with Phoebe, who like meets her twin sister's fiance and kind of gets a thing for him and finds out that her twin is lying to him because she sucks. You've also got Rachel, who is pregnant, and she's appointing herself the in charge of the trick-or-treaters because of her maternal instincts kicking in or something. We've got Chandler being dressed as a bunny and hating it.
It was either a pink bunny or no bunny at all.
No bunny at all. Always no bunny at all.
We've got Ross dressed like Spudnik, which is a play on the satellite Sputnik, but he's a potato. Nobody gets it. They keep calling him a turd. It's pretty hilarious.
Hey, all right. Ross came his duty.
And it all kind of ends in a situation where Ross and Chandler are arm wrestling to see who's the strongest. All in all, honestly, this is a good episode. Friends is a good show. It's not really my thing. I tend not to gravitate towards that like trendy upper class New York socialite kind of setting that this show takes place in. But honestly, every time I watch an episode, I'm reminded of how just good the show is. There's a lot of talent there. Matthew Perry, of course, rest in peace. Chandler, Phoebe, and Joey are definitely the strongest parts of this show. I guess I'll give it a 3 stars. It's pretty good. It's not as strong of a 3 stars as that Tales from the Crypt episode, but still undeniably just a really good show. As far as the Halloween scale, I mean, I gotta give it props. It's off the charts. It technically has a pumpkin in the opening. It's very small over there, but you can see it right after the opening scene. The whole thing is just drenched in Halloween. They're at a Halloween party. Their apartment is covered in like classic spooky Halloween decorations, bones and die-cut pumpkins and bats and stuff. Tables decked out with candy bowls and shit. Everybody in the background is just like dancing in costumes. The whole cast is wearing costumes. It's very Halloween-y. One of the most Halloween-y episodes of these 5. I'll give it 99 pumpkins. Pretty damn good. Definitely will hit the spot and set the mood. And the last one. This one is a classic must-watch in my opinion. I saved it for last because of that. It is a classic show from my childhood that I love dearly. And that is Beavis and Butthead. Bungholio, Lord of the Harvest, also known as Butt-O-Ween on home video. I think when it came out on like VHS tape. Again, this is a must watch. Beavis and Butthead is a great show. This is one of my favorite episodes of the show across the board. It opens with Beavis and Butthead watching a sleazy slasher movie.
You act like you don't even want to get it on.
They get the notion to go trick-or-treating, even though they're a little too old. They keep running into obstacles. They eventually have to come home and try to put on makeshift costumes. Beavis dresses up like a Nad, as you can see from the underwear placed on his head. And Butthead goes as Nachos by just dumping hot liquid cheese over his head. They go out, they're getting turned down, they're getting handed pamphlets and healthy treats, having no luck. Eventually they make their way to Tom Anderson's house. Beavis gets into the candy and he turns into Cornholio. Oh man, I love Beavis and Butthead so much. But yeah, he's just wigging out. He eats the whole bowl of candy. Butthead loses control. He's out there terrorizing people, traumatizing poor Stuart. He even is so fucking wigged out that he scares Todd a little bit.
This is messed up, man.
But yeah, Todd ends up taking Butthead out in the middle of nowhere, dumping him. Beavis wanders off into a graveyard. You get this nice, moody, atmospheric scene that's kind of like the classic Wolfman transformation where Beavis is fully succumbing to Cornholio.
I am Cornholio.
The whole thing culminates with them both like wandering into the same area into a like ghoul who lures them into their barn. And it ends on a great, like, non-canonical, spooky Halloween ending where Butthead has been turned into a ghoul as well. If you've got the DVD or you watch it on TV, you might not get the music videos inserted in there, but the music videos they played when it aired were really good. You had Teenage Frankenstein by Alice Cooper, Hollywood Halloween by Paul Braukeck, if I'm saying that right, and The Family Ghost by King Diamond. If you can track those down and watch it along with it, that'll enhance the experience in my opinion. The music video segments were a big part of Beavis and Butthead, and I think it's a shame that they're so hard to watch with the videos in them because it made the show in a lot of ways. But yeah, this is a 4-star banger, naturally. It's awesome. No need to dwell on that too long. It's just awesome. It's Beavis and Butthead, and they're trick-or-treating, and Cornholio comes out. That's a recipe for success in my book. And as far as the pumpkin scale goes, I mean, this episode gives you everything you want. The cool custom intro, it's just the normal intro, spooked up a little bit. That's all you need to do. The plot is driven by Halloween. You get tons of decorations, tons of costumes, most notably a couple Power Rangers in there. You got the White Ranger kid, and then at the end, one of the kids that Cornholio terrorizes is the Red Ranger. So very of its time. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and give this one 5,000 pumpkins. I think it deserves every single one. But yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're as stoked as me that the Halloween season is back. It's my favorite time of year. And hopefully, if you were looking for something to watch, I gave you some ideas. I'll try to be back with another one soon. I feel like this is very important work, and I'm gonna try to do it to its fullest. But yeah, thanks for watching. Happy Halloween, and until next time.
We'll be right back.
What? No dip? For a really great Halloween, pick up tons of Pepsi and Doritos.
Retro Crypt, the #1 purveyor of subhumanoid lifestyle products. Find clothing, home decor, collectibles, and more. Like this glow-in-the-dark Tales from the Crypt t-shirt. Only $24.99. Or how about Toxie himself? 7 inches of superhuman size and strength. For any shelf in your house, only $54.99. Or these Goosebumps magnets, featuring classic cover art from Jim Jacobus, starting at only $10.99. That's www.retrocryptco.com. Join us today, if you dare.
It's Halloween at the Knickknackery, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg. Use your brain. Stay ahead of your friends. Listen up. Just flatwood it down, and we'll lend a hand in selecting from hundreds of styles of masks, as well as costumes, wigs, makeup, accessories, and indoor and outdoor decorations. Have a heart. We need the sale. And it's a hair-raising experience. We'll keep an eye out for you at the Knickknackery.
And now, back to the show.
I got another Halloween television episode guide for you. We're covering a wide range today. None of these in particular are on my must-watch list, but some of them come pretty close. They're personal favorites of mine. And with the other ones, who knows, they might be on yours. So yeah, I think I'm gonna start it off with a pretty simple one. That is The Office. This is from season 2. They're keeping it simple with this one, just calling it Halloween. It is the first Halloween episode of The Office. I think there's 3, and this is the first one. This one sees Michael being pushed to lay somebody off, and he held it off until Halloween.
Why did you put it off until Halloween?
Because it's very scary stuff.
And that's basically the bulk of the episode, is Michael struggling to get himself to lay somebody off and all the cringy shit he does in that struggle.
I'm gonna need you to find like a full employee salary plus benefits, like 50 grand. I'm gonna need you to find 50 grand in the numbers.
But
there's also some stuff about like Pam and Jim pulling a prank on Dwight and that leading to some drama with them. But the bulk of the episode is about Michael flopping around like a fish the whole runtime.
Fire someone else.
Okay, well, I already picked you, and you know that, so...
I knew you'd see it my way, Michael. God bless you. You were a fine man.
Don't...
This is a great show in general. I think this is one of those widely accepted, like, greatest shows of all times kind of shows. And this episode is no exception. It's just a great episode. The plot stuff, I mean, I don't know. It could get in the way, have that effect where it's just making you feel like you need to be watching the whole show, but it's not too bad. I've seen way worse in that regards. You can just pick this up, pop it in, not be lost really. So yeah, like as far as the episode goes, 4 stars, it's a banger. The Office is awesome. In terms of Halloween though, it's not that great. Halloween is just a backdrop for this story. Even in that regard, honestly, it's a little light. They actually make a joke almost to excuse that fact.
What happened to all of those spooky decorations that we had, the cobwebs and such?
There's not a lot of Halloween decorations going on. There are some great costumes. Some like iconic Office costumes. Most notably probably being 3-hole punch Jim. But you've also got Michael with his Army of Darkness 2-headed boss costume, and Dwight as a Sith Lord.
Yeah, well, look, what about me?
Which isn't itself a great costume, but it leads to a great scene where he's basically framed all dramatically and shit. Good stuff. It opens on a pumpkin, and I'm just gonna add that as a criteria, I guess, going forward. It comes up a lot. Most Halloween episodes open on a pumpkin, or at least show you one in the first like few minutes. I feel like that should be a criteria, right? So yeah, this one opens on a pumpkin. That does help a little, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'll give this one like 19 pumpkins. Not great, but also not the worst one you could pop in, I guess, because you'll be entertained, even if the Halloweeniness is a little lacking. Next is a hard one to find, but I feel like if you were around in the 90s, maybe even the early 2000s, you're gonna know this show. That is the 1998 Mad TV Halloween special. This is really hard to find. Yeah, Mad TV hardly had any physical media presence. As you can see, I don't have it. Mad TV kind of got the shaft in that regard. I think it got like a couple of seasons on DVD, but like good luck finding them. The show is available on streaming in certain places, but from what I've seen, it's not great. Some of them are straight up like, I don't know, TV rips that weren't even edited properly. Really sad, because it was such a prominent show in the 90s. But yeah, luckily I ran into a copy, and I actually saw this one live. I remember 1998 Halloween night pretty clearly. It was a good night. And I'm pretty sure I watched, like, in some order or another, they had like a Kiss Psycho Circus special, Mad TV, this episode, and the local news. I watched that in some order that night. I'm not sure how you even review a skit show. I mean, I guess just like, if you're familiar with Mad TV, it's got a lot of the hits. You know, you've got the Vancombe lady, Miss Swan, Stewart, and Antonia. There's a couple randos in there. Oh, also Kenny Rogers. He's like got a commercial for a CD he's putting out.
Oh my God, it's a ghost! It's a scary ghost!
Which Will Sasso's Kenny Rogers is one of the greatest things that's ever happened. Kiss is sprinkled all throughout the episode, obviously, but they've also got Robert Englund in here. There's a lot of extremely dated skits, like one featuring P. Diddy, Mace, and Natalie Merchant. Also Little Nestor, which is a highlight for me, just because I always liked their little claymation skits. And one of the cooler things about it is it's all wrapped in this whodunit slasher kind of wraparound story. And this is 98, so obviously it's driven by like the Scream era slashers, and they just straight up use the ghost face mask. They don't even try to hide it. It's not the best like take on a little slasher thing because they basically tell you who the killer is from the bat. Not the best way to do a whodunit slasher, but I mean, I don't know. This whole show, like, you can't be mad at it. It is what it is. It's Mad TV. It's that super irreverent, stupid late 90s shit. They didn't give a fuck. They were just doing whatever, and you kind of gotta love it. It culminates really cool with like a Kiss versus Michael Jackson thing. Because spoiler alert, the killer's Michael Jackson. They tell you that like right off the bat. But yeah, it's got a lot of callbacks to like old Kiss movie effects and Moonwalker and stuff. It's good shit. I'll give it 3 stars. Pretty damn good. And it's pretty Halloween-y as well. It opens on a pumpkin. Most of the skits are based in Halloween. There are a couple that aren't, but I mean, most of it is. The stage that they use in the beginning and the end and stuff is all decked out. Good shit. I guess I'll give it like 75 pumpkins. Pretty solid. But yeah, next we've got Dark Angel, 2nd season. The episode is called Boo. This is a short-lived 2-season show from James Cameron that came out around the like Buffy era. It's one of the most 2000s ass shows I've ever seen. It's got Jessica Alba as Max. She's like 2000s power girl incarnate. The whole setting is in this like urban hip hop kind of cool dystopia. There are tons of like really trendy outfits, and like a great example, one of the characters' names is Original Cindy. That's a play on like, you know, Original Sin. This is not treated as a joke. Her name is just Original Cindy. Everybody calls her that. Nobody addresses how fucking cheesy it is. This is the 2nd season when the show kind of became less serious and took on like a Monster of the Week kind of thing, which I like. Also the music, man, the fucking music. They're using a lot of mainstream music to the point that it's going to be hard for me to edit this thing with clips probably if I want to use audio, because they're always playing fucking the Gorillaz or Mystical or some other mainstream fucking music in it. That's really annoying. But yeah, this one has Max going to a Halloween party. It's got some plot drama in it. It also has this one character named Joshua, who is a dog man, basically. And he wants to go out because it's the one night he can go out without getting basically outed and arrested by the government for being what in this show are called transgenics, which are basically mutants. But it all kind of collides when they run into this one transgenic guy who gets his head separated from his body.
Now you've done it.
And so his headless body is running around trying to do something that they have to stop. And it's just like an episode of them running around town chasing after this headless body and all the shenanigans that unfold. I mean, I don't know. This is a fun episode, but I feel like this show is gonna be hit or miss for people. It's not a great show of the time, but if you like that time period, this show has all that like extreme cheese that popped up in the 2000s. It's got that vibe, and I don't know. This is a fun episode just with the like running around town. They're all piling into a van, going to these different locations, meeting different characters, and crazy shit happening. Shit gets really weird towards the end of the episode especially, and there's a reason for that they explain, but like, yeah, they just kind of went all out and made like a lighthearted, silly episode that doesn't affect the like story too much. So yeah, I like it. There's a cool fight scene in it with Max and the headless body. But yeah, I guess I'll give it like a 2 stars. It's all right. Definitely fun to watch if you like this kind of thing. And in terms of Halloween, I mean, it's somewhere in the middle, I think. Halloween is a big part of the plot of this episode. They have some cool stuff like these like dystopian future trick-or-treaters who are basically like going door to door holding people up.
So, you got candy? Because me and my crew here got a carton of eggs.
There's $5. Beat it.
There's a big Halloween party, so you see a lot of costumes through the night and stuff. And this one ends on a jack-o'-lantern. There are little to no, like, Halloween decor things going on in this episode outside of the party, really. But they did, at least at the end, sneak that in. But this is like a cool techno 2000s future projection on a big brick wall. I don't think that ending on a pumpkin is better than opening on one, but at least they did it. So yeah, I'm still gonna go pretty low here though. I'm gonna give it 5 pumpkins because it wasn't that Halloween-y to me. I don't know. At number 4, this is gonna be one of my personal favorites. Not quite a must watch, but for me very strong. Clarissa Explains It All. This episode is called Darling Wars. It aired in '93, 3rd season. I used to rent this one a lot from the video store. It was on like a Clarissa Explains It All, like 4-episode tape. And I watched this shit over and over. This show has some of the coolest 90s clothes. So I'll get this out of the way. This is a cool outfit. And this is a cool outfit. The story here is that the parents are leaving. So Clarissa and her brother Ferguson get the house all to themselves, and their plan is to order pizza,
Extra cheese, extra sauce, extra everything,
and watch Beetlejuice. But Ferguson pulled a switcheroo and got Psycho Cop 4, which I didn't even know existed because I love Psycho Cop 1 and 2, which I think, you know, they didn't know that Psycho Cop was a franchise. I think when they wrote this episode, I think they just picked a cheesy name and it happened to be a real movie franchise. Still pretty funny. In this one, Psycho Cop 4 is an action movie, it seems like.
Put the gun down, Jocko. No way, man.
But yeah, this pisses Clarissa off. This starts like a back and forth prank war through the night, but then they eventually have to like squash the beef and come together when the power goes out and there's like an intruder running around. This is an awesome episode. This is my favorite episode of a show that is very near and dear to my heart. One thing about this episode is that it's almost like, for a kid that age, this is almost like a power fantasy scenario. Parents are gone, you're gonna eat pizza and watch horror movies. So yeah, this is easily a 4-star classic. Halloween-wise, even though it is a episode that aired on around Halloween on the Snicker Treat block, it is not set on Halloween specifically. It's raining outside. There are no decorations. There's no mention of Halloween. It's just like a spooky night at home. But I don't know, man. This is probably just all me, so bear that in mind. They have all the other elements. They have like, every time something dramatic happens, there's like lightning outside. They play all that stock Nickelodeon, like spooky music.
The hand landed in the cement mixer, the very same one used to build this basement.
There's like the spooky story that Clarissa tells Ferguson in the basement to scare him.
And that would explain that!
So I'm gonna go off books a little bit and give it a very biased, like 100 pumpkins, just because I love it. I highly suggest watching it, but despite my bias, just know that it's not set on Halloween. So yeah. All right, last one, big finale. This is another kind of obscure one. This is R.L. Stein's The Nightmare Room. The episode is Full Moon Halloween. Nightmare Room is like a gap bridger show between Goosebumps, which everybody knows, and The Haunting Hour, which was like, I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but it was pretty popular, I think. I wasn't watching it at the time because I was, you know, already in my 20s, not watching kids shows. But going back and revisiting all this shit and discovering it, it seems like, I mean, it had a lot of episodes, and trust me, we're going to talk about it eventually, probably pretty soon. But yeah, this was kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the R.L. Stein TV shows. It had 2 seasons, but one seems like it got cut short. I think there's 13 episodes, but it has all the trappings of these shows. If you like Goosebumps and stuff like that, I highly recommend seeking some of these out. There are a handful of episodes on 2 different DVDs, but some of them are getting harder to find and they're in bad quality. In a lot of cases, they're lost, probably. I haven't dug deep enough to see if there are any just straight up missing, but I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, this has the bad acting. This has the convoluted plots, all the random like early appearances from people who would go on to be stars and stuff like that. And this is their Halloween episode. It opens up with like a old explorer dude dropping off a package. It's like a chained up chest. It's all spooky and it's got something moving inside of it. And then we meet our 5 teenagers who are talking about Halloween and some werewolf attacks. So you can see where this is going. They end up getting invited to a spooky house by a mysterious person, and they end up getting locked in, and it turns out to be this kid, Freddy. He has locked them in this spooky house for the night.
Where's everyone else? There is nobody else.
So you're saying it's just us?
To figure out which one of them is a werewolf by releasing these werewolf hunting creatures into the house.
They're called plogs.
Excuse me?
They're a type of gremlin. They're the only known natural enemy of werewolves.
Hey! It's in my shirt! Ah!
This is one of those special episodes of a weird random TV show that is like batshit crazy. This is like Goosebumps, Critters, and the Howling 5 all just mashed up together. It's like a werewolf story. It's like a whodunit where people are locked in a fucking house with a mysterious werewolf and these little critters that are just like little balls of fur. And this plot is so convoluted, like I can't even describe. There's so many twists and turns. I'm just gonna spoil it. This Freddy kid gathered all these people. He ordered this like old spooky chest from a fucking explorer dude, gathered all these kids here, set up like an alarm system to lock them in the house on like a timer or whatever so that he could avenge his like cousin or something.
I'll tell you what the deal is. One of you knows firsthand about those animal attacks. One of you is the werewolf. Are you the werewolf? One of the kids attacked last month was my little werewolf.
Oh no.
By catching the werewolf with these fucking creatures, all to be revealed like towards the end of the episode that he was just full of shit so that he could get these kids to like him.
One of us is still a werewolf.
Actually, I've been going to school with you guys since the 4th grade. And when you're not ignoring me, you're making fun of me. So I just figured that if I threw this amazing party, maybe you'd talk to me every once in a while. Werewolf.
It's so insane. And I love it. It's beautiful. I highly recommend it if you like weird, crazy shit like this. I'm going to give it like a 3 stars. I don't think it deserves a 4-star, but it's a very strong 3 stars. It's very predictable, like a kid's show, but that's where the fun's at, I think, a lot. So yeah, 3 stars. On the pumpkin scale, I'm going to give it like 990 pumpkins. It's a very Halloween-y episode. Again, the whole plot is surrounded by Halloween and driven by it to a degree. They're locked in this house, like House on Haunted Hill style. It is decked out with like the types of props and gags that no little kid could ever set up on his own. There's shit flying out of the closet at people. There's like a wall of like high quality masks. There's like trick tables with candy bowls with hands that come out. A fucking coffin closes on a pumpkin. So yeah, if you throw this on, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And yeah, that's it for today. Hopefully I'll be coming back soon with some more of these. I hope you got something out of it. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. And until next time.
The world's biggest
biggest Halloween party is coming to Six Flags Great Adventure. Friday nights, Saturdays, and Sundays, October 15th through Halloween weekend. Visit a park that's bigger than Disneyland and experience Fright Fest.
It's scary fun for the whole family.
Meet terrible trolls, ghastly ghouls, and goblins. And experience Batman the Ride. Starting October 15th through Halloween weekend. Fright Fest at Six Flags Great Adventure. There's nothing like it on Earth. Get these great Fright Fest savings with special coupons at participating Roy Rogers.
What? There's something under the bed. I heard something. There's nothing under the bed. I heard something.
See, look, it's just Fluffy. He got scared by a dumb cat.
I wasn't scared.
I told you there was nothing under the bed.
Mummies everywhere are rushing to Carvel for the new Halloween ice cream cake, just $9.99. Have your mummy pick up some new ghosty cones too. The Halloween cake, $9.99.
And now, back to the show.
I got all dolled up for you today with my pink Freddy Krueger shirt because we're talking about Freddy's Nightmares. I figured this one deserved its own full episode because, I mean, I don't know, it's Freddy Krueger stalking somebody on Halloween. That's pretty cool. I think Freddy's Nightmares is one of those shows that not a lot of people like. Kind of a joke. I don't know. Naturally, I'm a little softer on it. I think it definitely has its huge peaks and valleys. But for the most part, I think the good episodes are so good that, I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of glad that it exists. I'm a big Nightmare on Elm Street fan. I'm fascinated with just the fact that Freddy Krueger became such like a pop culture icon. And I love all the little weird bits of media and merchandising all through the 80s and 90s. I know a lot of people kind of shit on it because it didn't have Freddy in it as much as they'd like. I think that's a common problem a lot of people have with shit that I usually love. You know, like Jason Goes to Hell, Halloween 3. They always get shit on for not having enough of the main attraction. And I get it, I guess. But I've always kind of looked at it as like, realistically, like with this show, they're not going to be able to afford Robert Englund full time for every episode. It's kind of amazing that it got him for a lot of the hosting segments. Though I do have a sneaking suspicion that in a lot of episodes, he just did a voiceover and they kind of got a look-alike. Basically any episode where there's like a shadow over his face, I suspect that that's not Robert Englund. And I think that's a pretty safe assumption. But yeah, anyway, there are quite a few episodes where he is the actual villain of the episodes, and those are always fun. This one is one of those. I think the concept of the show was to be that every episode is Freddy Krueger fucking with somebody. He's just not always physically there, which can be a hard pill to swallow. But in episodes like this, he's actually there torturing people and stuff, and those episodes can be a shitload of fun. And also, this is 88. This is right when Dream Master came out, which is one of my personal favorites of the franchise. It's the like extra loud MTV Freddy Krueger, and you get a lot of that in the show, especially like the lighting. They always used like the red and green lighting that was all over part 4. So even though it's super low budget and poorly written, poorly acted, I mean, depending on who you are, that could be no problem at all. A lot of us like trash around here especially. But yeah, if you haven't checked it out, this is a good place to start. Even though it's hard to find. It was on Tubi for a little while, and then it just disappeared. Hopefully, someday we'll get something a little more consistent. Until then, I mean, you can get it through nefarious means. So, but yeah, anyway, about the episode, this is season 1, episode 4. It's called Freddy's Trick or Treats. Right off the bat, I think the most notable thing to mention is that it stars Mariska Hargitay as Marcia. So we've got some acting chops in here. She was doing horror movies around that time. I know she was also in Ghoulies, which is a favorite of mine. But yeah, and here she's Marcia. She is a college student. She's like trying to crack down and study while there's a Halloween party going on in her dorm or whatever, trying to pass her anatomy test. She's got this dude, Mark, like coming in her window wearing a Jason mask. Which, you know, I'll touch more on that probably at the end of the video, but it's really cool in '88 to get like a Freddy Krueger thing that's given a nod to Jason. I think this is around the time that Paramount was trying to get New Line to do like a versus thing. So it's cool to see that, even though it's like a cheap Kmart hockey mask. Still neat, but yeah. Anyway, he's coming in the window, like trying to scare her and shit. She's grumpy though. She's over it.
Mark, I'm trying to study.
How did you know that was me?
He's trying to like convince her to enjoy Halloween. She wants nothing to do with it though.
It's a very important holiday.
Not in Detroit.
So she goes to leave. That's where we meet these two goons that are like talking about doing dream studies. You got this guy, Gary, who's like the conscience of the group, as we'll see. He's got apprehensions about what they're doing. But his partner, I'm just going to call him Ponytail. This guy is like a sociopath.
Naked, a woman can't hide anything. She can't keep anything secret. For some women, that's a very scary thing.
And they'll come up later in the story. But yeah, anyway, she goes to school to like cut up some cadavers again for her anatomy test, which like, I'll just say that's a good setting for some spooky stuff to happen. There's a room full of dead bodies. But yeah, on her way in, she runs into Ernie, which shout out to Ernie. He's a real likable character for as little as we get him.
Tonight is Halloween.
But yeah, they start talking about how much she hates Halloween and how it's so important in Springwood.
Because we got a very spooky ghost in Springwood.
Ooh, are you telling me that this town is haunted now?
Yes, by Freddy Krueger.
Freddy who?
Krueger.
And Marcia starts talking shit a little bit. And I think that's kind of what gets Freddy's attention, I guess, and gets him to target her. She kind of summons him with her trash talk.
Okay, say that this ghost of
Freddy
yours...
Krueger.
Excuse me, Freddy Krueger really does exist. He can't really do anything except bounce under a sheet now, can he?
Marcia, you've hurt my feelings.
And yeah, it quickly goes into him tormenting her. She starts seeing shit. And this is also where we learn about her trauma she's got going on. She's like washing her hands and it's bringing up flashbacks of her grandmother making her wash her hands basically until they bleed, saying she's filthy and shit. Like, you know, that classic fucked up parental guardian situation.
I'll teach you to touch filthy boys. Vile, unclean. There we go.
And this whole scene, she's kind of moving in and out of dreams. You're not really sure what is real or not. We get this real nice set piece where it's like her seeing herself in the pumpkin mask from earlier in the episode in the mirror. She's like tearing at it. It's playing like a cool spooky score over it. It's very reminiscent of Halloween 3. I'm pretty sure there's no way this wasn't an intentional reference, right? I mean, it's very blatant. But yeah, as we get more into her flashbacks about her grandma, we find out that her trauma is very valid because her grandma was fucked up.
Oh, filthy whore, we're never gonna get you clean. Your selfish parents had to go and die. I was left to raise you. You've got to fight the flesh.
And we also see that she basically indirectly killed her. So not only is she fucked up from this grandmother, like constantly calling her a filthy whore and sheltering her and shit, but she's also got to live with the guilt of killing her. So like, yeah, she's fucked in the head for sure, and rightfully so. And so yeah, with this and Freddy torturing her fucking brain breaks basically, and her friends roll up on her having a mental breakdown in front of this. Well, I mean, it looks like the Elm Street house out by the street or whatever. And yeah, old Ponytail, when he rolls up on this, he sees dollar signs.
God, I could build an entire career on a head case like her.
A head case like her?
And here's where things get like a little weird. It just cuts to a scene of Marcia going up to her room, seeing Gary and Ponytail outside her window and starting to do a spicy striptease. This is a dream. At this point, they have secured her as a voluntary patient in their little dream study that we were talking about earlier. And for real, like for most of the episode, it just feels like Gary and Ponytail are basically just using this dream study to like perv out on Marcia. They're just like, because it comes through a monitor and they're recording it, and it just seems like they're just trying to get sick footage of her stripping and shit. And like Ponytail's all in, he has no shame. Gary is like trying to act like he feels bad, but he keeps stopping to look at that screen a lot, I'm just saying. But unfortunately, right before it gets to the good part, the video cuts out. They have Marcia trapped in like a living hell. She comes here, they lock her in a room, put her to sleep, hook her up to wires and shit, and basically these guys try to get Pornhub material from her while Freddy Krueger like torments her. It's pretty fucked up. And you know, Ponytail is coercing her into doing all this shit. He's like taking advantage of her fear. He's trying to like up the ante of the nightmares to get like the most fear out of her so they can get the biggest reaction, because there's some like little thing where the more intense the dream is, the clearer the footage is, I guess.
You can't just shove a floppy disk in her mouth and reprogram her dreams.
I'm not looking to reprogram them. I want to enhance them. We gotta see more.
And you got Ponytail and Gary having arguments about the ethics of what they're doing.
There's a line out there somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I got a feeling in my gut that tells me we're just about to cross it.
Gary, we crossed it a long time ago, and we should keep on crossing it.
Though it seems like Gary could just leave if he was that worried about it. He's sticking around. I don't know. Maybe there's like a little possibility that he feels obligated to stick around to keep Ponytail like reeled in a little bit, but I mean, I don't know. And also, because this is like a college study thing, if these dudes found a way to record people's dreams, this would be all over the news. This wouldn't be like a hush-hush college study, right? I mean, that shit doesn't happen. Not with something this monumental. And while we're on the subject of that, the introduction of this concept into the like Freddy canon is pretty big. This would have been a good direction for a Nightmare sequel. Maybe not. Maybe it's too much. I don't know. It's kind of cool that we have this. This is almost like Freddy Krueger fan fiction. Almost. But yeah, anyway, eventually they get shut down for good reason. They are showing their professor or whatever, and he's just like, obviously, you guys are abusing this chick.
You're abusing the test subject. If something happens, this entire university will be held accountable.
So yeah, they get shut down, but Ponytail goes to Marcia with like a sob story about like basically how they're Dr. Frankensteining them.
Fools always fear the unknown.
Gets her on his side, also manages to get her to like make out with him. So yeah, this dude fucking sucks. They go back for one last dream session. He takes her to is it a boiler room or the boiler room? I think it's just supposed to be like maybe the college's boiler room. But yeah, just that setting. Freddy shows up. She kind of wakes up to Ponytail like choking her out. But then we quickly realize that he is in the dream with her. And yeah, he's fucked. I guess from what she says, him coming into the dream, he just like inherited Freddy. Like Freddy just swapped to him. I don't know. It just seemed to me like he killed him or whatever. And I don't know. I don't want to play script doctor here, but like I thought the more obvious way to go would be for her to get like gutted by Freddy and then it looked like he did it. So he goes to jail. I think that would have been a better end of that dude's story, but whatever. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The ending's fine. I'm just being like nitpicky. I feel like that's where you think it might be going and that's kind of what you want to see happen. But yeah, that's how it goes. It's kind of unclear if Freddy's gonna keep fucking with Marsha or not, or if she just, you know, passed the buck to old Ponytail. But yeah, this is one of the better episodes of the whole series, honestly. I mean, this is the rare treat where you actually get Freddy Krueger doing the stalking. You've got Mariska Hargitay, who is like, at one point, a pretty high profile actress. So she's bringing the acting chops. That kind of makes this episode one of the episodes with like the most Nightmare on Elm Street feel. It also has a lot of like creative camera work and it's got a lot of great Freddy gags. You get Freddy as a skeleton. You got one kill, which I love. It feels very much like a low budget version of a movie kill, where like some cords come out in the shape of his claw and get somebody. You've got this great gag at the end on like Freddy's end segment where like a VCR shoots out blood and you just get a bunch of one-liners from Freddy, which is always nice. So yeah, this, in terms of this show especially, is a 4-star. I mean, like I said, one of the better episodes and one of the episodes that really comes so close to hitting that point of what people wanted and would have expected from a Freddy Krueger TV series. Just that point where it like, you know, yeah, you got to give it leeway because it's still TV, but it does actually feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street thing with Freddy Krueger and all the kind of like surreal stuff and cool kills and gags. Good shit. In terms of Halloweeniness, this episode, I mean, it's Freddy Krueger on Halloween night. You get Jason references, you get Halloween references, the big three right there. I think if you're a horror fan, the fascination of that is enough. Because I mean, you know, if Freddy Krueger is stalking Springwood pretty consistently, Halloween night's gonna be a special night for him, right? He's gonna be extra active on that night. And this gives us a chance to see that. You get a few cool like Freddy Krueger Halloween moments. You get him saying trick or treat.
Trick or treat!
Which I'm surprised that clip doesn't get used more because that's pretty cool. There's also one thing I noticed. It's just like in the background of one scene, there is a jack-o'-lantern carved into the 4 slash marks. That's a pretty cool like Freddy Krueger Halloween moment. The first half of the episode is extremely Halloween centric. The second half, I mean, every episode of this series kind of has that halfway point where they switch focus to a side character from the first half. So yeah, the second half is after Halloween and it all kind of drops off. But that first half is extremely festive. You've got great decorations everywhere, great costumes, constant references to Halloween and trick-or-treating and stuff. That's enough to carry it, I think, to a pretty good score. I am changing the scoring system from here on out. I'll probably explain more later about that. But yeah, if you've been watching these, you know that the scoring system was dumb. I thought it was hilarious. It has since, I think, ran its course. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up with some kind of rating system. But yeah, for right now, we'll just use the star system. This gets 3 stars in terms of Halloweeniness. That first half of the episode gave it a big boost. I think if the whole episode had been a little more Halloweeny, maybe just at least showed some like residual decorations still in the background, maybe, it probably would have got a 4-star. But yeah, still a pretty big recommend. It's a great episode to pop in. And like I've been going on and on about the whole time, this is Freddy Krueger on Halloween. If you like either of those things, I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. But yeah, that's it. More to come in the future. I hope everybody's having a good Halloween season. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time.
We'll be right back.
Nasty weather got you little monsters uptight. Make it a blockbuster night. Blockbuster has something for everyone. Even the fussiest little beasts settle down to enjoy Blockbuster. I just love a family night. If the weather's a fright, make it a Blockbuster night.
Hey, pretty funny movie, huh? What are you, a nut? This is scary. Scary? This isn't scary. If you want horror, you gotta go with the classics. Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolf Man. Ooh. Spooky, huh?
Oh, they're cool. I could send one to my mother.
You'd mail these? These are special editions. You're really starting to freak me out.
Special edition stamps now at the post office. Some stamps you just can't lick.
And now, back to the show.
I love pumpkin-headed monsters. I think of all the Halloween monsters you could choose from, like werewolves, mummies, witches, Draculas, Frankensteins. The pumpkin-headed monster is the most iconic one, and it's also sadly the one that gets the least amount of love. The closest thing to consistent lore behind them is like Sleepy Hollow, but he's almost not a pumpkin-headed monster. He's just like a headless ghost that carries a pumpkin around and sometimes wears it as like an accessory. So it's all kind of spread out. You get different iterations here and there, but the one we're talking about today is one of the better ones, and it's also one that nobody ever talks about for some reason, and it's from the show Haunting Hour, which I've wanted to talk about Haunting Hour for a while. I plan to talk about it more in the future. I've mentioned it before. It's the third R.L. Stine ran show we got after Goosebumps and Nightmare Room. And like where Goosebumps was obviously for kids, the stories are extremely silly. I mean, they're Goosebumps books adapted into a cheap Canadian TV show, so they're very cheesy. Nightmare Room seemed like it was trying to bring it up to like high school age, but it still had the extremely cheesy plots and like tone and stuff. And with Haunting Hour, it almost feels like somebody at R.L. Stine Inc. was like, if we're gonna take his stories and adapt them for teens, we're gonna have to get a little bit edgier. And they sure as fuck did. Haunting Hour is like a pretty fucked up show in terms of kid shows. That's why I'm always surprised that more people don't talk about it or seem to know about it. Kids die in this show, parents die in this show. Characters are left with like life-altering trauma at the end of pretty much every episode if they don't die. It's very bleak. And production value-wise and acting-wise, I think if you looked at it objectively, it's technically the best of the three. Even if you have like nostalgia goggles on for Goosebumps, because that's the one we all grew up with if you're around a certain age. But Haunting Hour seemed a little bit more put together. But yeah, today we're talking about 2 episodes. It's kind of like their Halloween episode and then like a direct sequel to that. It is Pumpkinhead and its sequel, Return of the Pumpkinheads. I'm gonna kind of breeze through the first one a little bit. The real juice is in the second one. The second one is really something. But the first one, I kind of consider it like a part of it. If I watch them back to back. It's like a good episode. It just can't stand up to the sequel, but it makes a good like first act almost to set up the sequel. This one is available on YouTube. You can get it on DVD in one of these like 5-episode DVDs. It even makes the cover. You got Dave here, who we'll get to, and he's surrounded by pumpkin heads. But yeah, this one we're following mainly Scott. He's kind of like the main character. His sister Allie and his little brother Dave. We're going to be following them on their little Halloween adventure. Scott's kind of a relatable character. I think if you were like a Halloween kid, you can completely understand his perspective. He's basically like just hitting that edgy teen age, but he wants to have fun on Halloween. In a way, the episode is a little bit of something that we can all probably relate to, which is like the homogenization of Halloween traditions. He doesn't want to trunk or treat or go to a lame school Halloween get together. He wants to go out and fuck shit up and get candy.
Nobody decorates. Nobody goes out. We have to trick-or-treat at school? It's beyond lame. Halloween's supposed to be a wild night where anything could happen.
I mean, that's like the essence of Halloween. So it's totally understandable. But yeah, anyway, they're home alone on Halloween. The mom has left Allie in charge. Scott is whining, and poor little Dave here. I mean, all this guy wants to do is carve some fucking pumpkins. And Scott kind of uses that against him.
I say we go out there, grab some big pumpkins, then you can carve whatever you wanted, right, Dave?
No way.
He suggests that they go to Old Palmer's farm, which, by the way, there is also like some hints in here that some kids have gone missing. And I guess Palmer's farm is like known to be spooky around here. But it's a pumpkin farm. He ends up bribing Allie, so they go.
How about if Dave and I did your chores for a month?
We're not going.
2 months.
Come on, dude.
They get there, they run into a bunch of spooky shit, like a bunch of red flags. Palmer's got this creepy ass barn set up with like an operating table. In the pumpkin patch, they find a bunch of what look like pumpkins with burlap sacks, which if you've seen Motel Hell, this episode basically rips that concept off. You can kind of see where it's going a little bit. But yeah, they get busted by Palmer. He's a creepy old dude, just like you'd expect. He scares the shit out of them.
Hey! You got no business being out here!
I'm sorry, sir. We didn't realize this was private property.
I can smell a liar. It smells like rot. Not quite ripe yet.
But before they go, Scott can't help but get what they came for. He steals 2 pumpkins. And through this whole scene, you've kind of got that like lurky POV perspective here and there that kind of tells you they're being watched. Yeah, they get home and start carving these pumpkins. And the first one is rotten.
I'm having fun.
It's full of maggots. So Scott is egging Dave on to open the other one. And you think it looks fine, but they find a fucking human tooth in it. It's clearly a human tooth. There's no way around it. Dave is the only one who is looking at it as inexplicably as it is. But Scott and Allie are kind of trying to make excuses for it.
It's just a weird pumpkin seed, right? How did tooth get in there?
They throw the pumpkins out. They go to their Halloween school thing. They get back that night, start watching scary movies, and Scott ends up getting taken by the pumpkin heads. And this is the first glimpse we get of the pumpkin heads. They're fucking awesome. It almost looks like they used real pumpkins. They did a really good job of getting the texture right. Once it gets to their jaw, there's like a row of pumpkin seed teeth and gnarly roots, like it's the stem going down into their shoulders. These pumpkin heads are one of the best pumpkin heads I've ever seen, possibly. And not something you would expect from a kid's show. Allie and Dave kind of decide that Scott must have went back to Palmer's farm, so they head over there to look for him. Dave waits in the car while Allie goes and checks it out. And after eventually running into Scott, who is buried up to his neck with a burlap sack over it, and he has been transformed by Palmer into a pumpkinhead seedling.
Still not ripe, but getting there.
And yet, the episode basically ends with all the kids presumably dying. Because that's how Haunting Hour rolls. They don't give a fuck. These kids are dead. Or if not, horrible mutant pumpkin slaves to this creepy ass farmer, which is kind of a fate worse than death if you think about it. But yeah, that's the first episode. I know the kids die at the end, but this is actually one of the lighter Haunting Hour episodes. It varies kind of episode to episode how fucked up they are. This is a lighter one for sure. I guess at the end of the day, I would give it like, I don't know, 3 stars. I mean, it's got the great effects. That's going to bump it up a lot with those pumpkinhead monsters. That's some top tier shit, especially from a kid's show. Before I rate its Halloweeniness, I'll just say I did change the Halloween scale a little bit. If you've been watching these, you know I just have been assigning a meaningless amount of pumpkins to the shows as like a joke. It was very funny to me until it wasn't. I think we can all agree that's ran its course, but I've come up with a new system. It's basically gonna be similar to my 4-star system, but I've chosen an avatar that I think every Halloween television enthusiast can immediately latch on to, and that is Roseanne's. So this episode gets 4 Roseannes. It doesn't open on a pumpkin, but you get, I mean, it's pumpkin heads. You get pumpkins all throughout the episode. This is fully centered around Halloween. The backdrop is very Halloween-y. You get the costumes, you get the decorations, you get pumpkin carving, spooky movies. It's fully deserving of the 4 Roseannes. But, not to be outdone, now we're getting to the meat of this video. Because now we're talking about something I've wanted to talk about for probably a couple years since I discovered it. And that is the sequel, Return of the Pumpkinheads. One reason I think this is so buried is because up until now, it has been trapped in bad quality limbo. You can watch it on YouTube, but that copy is so compressed that you can't even make out the faces. It's bugged me for a long time. I got pretty obsessed with it there for a minute. I looked everywhere. All I could find was on Tubi. There's a Spanish language version that's in perfect standard definition, as clear as you're ever going to get it, but it's only in Spanish language. And then you've got this bad YouTube upload, but some brave soul out there seems to have taken those two, mashed them together, and created a good quality English speaking version and gracefully put it on YouTube. And I mean, whoever that kind, heroic individual might be, that's not important. What's important is we now have this widely available in good quality. I couldn't be happier about that. And there's a link in the description for it. So I highly suggest that you watch this Halloween season. I don't think you'll be disappointed because it is very, very entertaining. It's slowly become like one of the things I look forward to the most when Halloween pops up because it's so, well, I mean, we'll get into that. But anyway, this time we're following Karen and Zach. This is sometime later after the events of the first one. I'm not sure if it's very clear, but I think like a couple years. And them and their family have moved to old Palmer's farm. Palmer has since passed away and they've bought his farm and they're not having it. They're very unhappy that they've been moved out to the middle of nowhere away from their friends. With Zach, it's his football team. There's some very disgruntled ass kids and they are shitting all over moving out here. They're shitting all over the parents.
I think if I had a bucket, I'd throw up.
Well, we can't afford a bucket. That's why we moved to this hall. It's a ranchette.
And this is where we get to one of the first like odd fascinations I have with this episode, and that's the parents. And it's hard to tell if this was like an acting choice or bad acting. I'm not sure. I think it was intentional, but I can't be sure. But yeah, the parents are like, they're really something, man. The dad, at first he acts in a way you could interpret as like laid back, but as the episode goes on, it's like every time he tries to talk to Zach, like these kids both kind of suck. He's trying so hard to like get through and relate to him, and the kid just shits all over him.
It's nothing we can't handle, right, pal?
A week ago, Fridays meant football.
And every time he just like shuts down, you can see in his eyes that he's like dying inside a little more and more.
How about we check out that barn?
And I also think he could also just be high too, or like some kind of mix of both. And speaking of substance abuse, we get to the mom. Her too, at first, the way she's acting could be interpreted as just like, I don't know, a little intense. I don't know, dude.
We can't afford a bucket. That's why we moved to this home. It's a ranchette. We got a super deal.
And just like the dad, I mean, both of their personalities escalate. But as the episode goes on with the mom, she gets more and more either drunk or just unhinged. She is clearly hitting the sauce.
That's the spirit.
But yeah, from here, we just get the settling into the house scene for a little bit of the episode. The parents are running around, unpacking, trying to talk to these kids. The kids are just whining about moving away from their football team and their friends, talking on their cell phone, all while something is lurking around in the background, watching them kinda. And like, we've seen the first episode, so we presume those are the pumpkin heads. And eventually we get to the second big thing. The best part of this episode, the show stealer, the star of the show, the kid who makes this whole episode worth watching, and that is Skeleton Boy. They run into this kid like on the property line on the other side of the fence. He's just standing there, dead-eyed, sucking on this sucker dressed like a skeleton. He starts telling them about all the lore behind Palmer's farm and basically the story of the kids from the first one, all in this monotone, this dry delivery.
Palmer grew pumpkins on his farm. They were like his babies. Kids from town started going missing, always around Halloween. There are rumors Palmer took them.
What happened to Palmer?
He's dead.
It's great. It's the performance of the century, and Karen is a little shook by the story, but Zach doesn't give a fuck.
I'm actually really skeleton boy, come on.
I'm just saying it was creepy.
Whatever.
They kind of split up from here. Zach walks around sulking. Karen gets cornered by Mom, who at this point is already cranked to 11. She convinces her to help her with the Halloween party that she's going to throw, I guess just for them, as like a way to christen the house maybe. But she's really just trying to relate to Karen and try to get her to quit being such a whiny little bitch, which kind of starts to work. Dad takes one last crack at Zach and fails miserably.
I thought Mom could use these for some pie. They're all rotten.
You can say that again.
I thought Mom could use these for some pie, but they're all rotten.
It's never been funny.
We need to find you a costume for our party.
No, we don't.
And then we start getting spooky stuff happening everywhere. Scratching at the window. Somebody seems to just be straight up fucking with Zach. Him and Karen meet up and start trying to figure out who's behind these pranks. Their first suspect, of course, being Skeleton Boy.
Skeleton boy. I'm not gonna be punked by a skeleton boy.
Mom ends up running into the pumpkin heads. She thinks that it's costumes that the kids are wearing somehow. But yeah, she gets got. Zach and Karen end up running into Skeleton Boy's mom.
What'd you do with him?
Chill out, lady. We're looking for Skeleton Boy.
They hear mom scream, go investigate,
But look at this.
and find that mom and dad have been transformed into pumpkin heads. The early stages, like we saw earlier with Scott. Personality-wise, I mean, dad's about the same, but the mom has definitely been zombified. They finally decide to get the hell out of there. We get the suspenseful trying to start the car as the monsters close in kind of scene.
Look, I'm buckling my seatbelt, just like you always told me to.
I don't think they care. Just shut up and drive.
And it ends with mom and dad going full pumpkin head. And again, just everybody dies or gets turned into a pumpkin-headed monster. This episode, to me, is like a perfect example of a kids' horror anthology episode. Or at least it's everything I want from one. It's absurd. I mean, the story is nothing super special. It's just like a standard spooky story. Kids' horror anthologies are always formulaic and predictable. That's part of their charm. Haunting Hour does like kind of transcend that a little bit. This episode and the episode before it are a little bit more on the standard side. But like with this episode, with the performances of mom and dad especially, and just kind of like the unintentional humor that you get from how fucking shitty these two kids are, how checked out their parents are. You get Skeleton Boy, who honestly at this point, a Halloween icon, and almost how the episode seems aware of that by just like doubling down on the Skeleton Boy thing. Zach says Skeleton Boy just enough times that it never gets old. It's good shit. This is an easy 4-star banger for me. I haven't watched all the Haunting Hour episodes, but of all of them, this is by far my favorite. And I don't even think Halloween bias plays into it. I think I would like it just as much if it weren't a Halloween episode. In terms of Halloweeniness, it is not as Halloweeny as the first episode. That one had the decor, the costumes, the Halloween motivated plot just like baked into it. This one, I guess since they're kind of moving into a new house, you don't get the decor. You get the mom dressed like a witch and she's setting up a Halloween party. So it's not as Halloweeny, but then again, you have the Pumpkinhead monsters. So that bumps it up a little. But I'd still give this like 2 Roseannes. Pretty low, sadly. But like I said earlier, I kind of watch these back to back as one 40-minute thing, as opposed to 2 separate episodes. And with that in mind, I feel like you've got to watch this. I feel like it deserves to be like a Halloween classic, honestly. If you're talking about television, these 2 episodes are so fun to watch during the season. And now they're both available in good quality, which makes me happy. And hopefully more people watch it and it catches a little traction or something because it's so good. But yeah, that's it. We're not completely done with pumpkin-headed monsters. They deserve more love, and I'm sure I'll come back to this topic. Yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and until next time.
The Castle of the Chicken McNuggets.
What are you making?
Sauce. We're using my mummy's recipe.
Mummy,
This better be good.
It'll be great.
Does your daddy have a recipe?
Now you can get McDonald's Happy Meal pails for
Halloween.
There's a pumpkin pail, a witch, and a ghost that glows in the dark. You can get a different one each week until
Halloween.
Time to go down to the basement for some more hauntingly delicious Count Chocula cereal.
Don't look in the basement.
Those eyes are looking at me. Think I'll get some fruity Frankenberry from the cupboard.
Don't look in the cupboard.
Oh, those eyes, they move.
Now the spooky, delicious part of your complete breakfast is even spookier.
Now Chocula's eyes really move. So did Frankenberry's.
Here's looking at you, kids.
Hi, Elvira here, finding great horror movies for the Coors Light Flick or Treat giveaway. Huh? We're giving away 50,000 videos, like the giant Gila monster, the wasp woman, or the brain that wouldn't die. Don't just stand there. Look for me this Halloween in a shocking display of specially marked Coors packages with film clips inside that tell you if you won. The Coors Light Flick or Treat giveaway. It'll be a scream.
Igor.
This Halloween, when you stock up on Pepsi and Doritos, you'll find coupons for savings on Hershey's candies. It's the perfect recipe for a...
Here's something to howl about. This week at Florida Supermarkets, specially marked Pepsi Cola 2 liters are just 89 cents.
And now, back to the show.